What is good, everybody? It's your boy, the one and only King Tyson. Y'all, we back here for another episode. We are back for episode 72. Y'all, we back for episode 72. We are moving on up in the numbers, y'all. Moving on up. I haven't seen y'all in a week. It's been a week since I seen y'all. But we back again. We gonna get back to work. And it's time for the Raw Smack Talk, y'all. We getting right back to it, alright? And guess what, y'all? It is almost time for season 2. Season 2 is coming up sooner than later, y'all. So stay tuned for season 2, alright? It's coming. Make sure y'all tune in. Y'all lock in. We're gonna have special guests on the show and everything, alright? Let's get it. So look, last week the shit went down. Before I get into last week, I forgot. Before I get into last week, I was about to start the show. Before I get into last week, so how was your week, y'all? How was your week? Hopefully it was successful, productive, and hopefully everything went your way. Like I said on every week and every episode, thank y'all for liking, sharing, and subscribing. So speaking of subscribing, man, make sure y'all join the RST Nation, y'all. This is RST Nation. Y'all joining the nation now. We're a nation together. And I appreciate some of my new supporters for joining the nation as well. I had new comments over the weekend. I appreciate the new comments. They call me Unk now. I'm in Unk status anyway. I'm over 35, so let's get it, y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Let's get it together. Let's get to 10,000. We're on the road. Yeah, we're on the road to 10K still. We're on the road to 10,000, y'all. Can we get to 10,000 by the end of 2025? Let's get it together, all right? Like I was about to say at first, let's move into, I ain't gonna say let's move into the show. Remember, guess what happened last week on Friday Night SmackDown? As we all know, last week on Friday Night SmackDown was the one and only AJ Lee, y'all. AJ Lee returned to the WWE. She returned to the WWE last week, and she beat the shit out of the one and only Becky Lynch. She smacked the shit out of her. She blocked her motherfucking eye. So CM Punk bought his boo. He bought his boo, and then she came, and she, like I said, she came and fucked up Becky Lynch. AJ Lee still has that crazy, sexy, cool personality, y'all. She has that crazy, sexy, cool personality. So I believe at WrestlePalooza, at WrestlePalooza, y'all, I already know. And so at WrestlePalooza, September 20th, y'all, make sure y'all tune into that. It will be CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch in a tag team match. So let's tune in. Who y'all got winning that match? Who y'all got winning at WrestlePalooza? I believe it still might be Seth and Becky. We're going to see what happens. We're just going to have to see what happens. Let's keep it moving. So also last week on Raw, y'all, last week on Monday Night Raw, LA Knight and Jey Uso went down to the Vision. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed went down. Well, they went down to the Vision. It was the Vision versus Jey Uso and LA Knight. So they lost the match, of course, like I just said. So right after the match, Braun Breaker speared LA Knight, and then Bronson Reed tsunami the shit out of Jey Uso. Tsunami the shit out of his ass. So Jimmy came out right after the damage has already been done. So this week, let's move on to this week on Monday Night Raw. Let's get into this week. So this week on Monday Night Raw, Jimmy and Jey Uso started the goddamn show. And it felt like old times, y'all. Put in the comments, y'all, did it feel like old times with the Usos? The Usos are now back together, y'all. They reunited. So Jey Uso was about to talk some shit about the Bronze or the Vision, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, but it ended up coming out. It ended up with Jey Uso. So Braun Breaker got all bent out of shape when he was talking about Roman Reigns did to Paul Heyman at Clash in Paris. He choked the shit out of Paul Heyman. Almost popped his fucking fat ass head off. He almost popped his fucking head off his shoulders. So Braun Breaker was ready to beat somebody's ass, y'all. Braun Breaker was ready to beat somebody's ass. Bronson Reed wants everybody to acknowledge him as the tribal thief, y'all. Bronson Reed is trying to take everything from Roman Reigns. So Jimmy and Jay, they was going in. Like I said, it reminded me of old times. Jimmy and Jay was going in on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. So Jay told Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker that they went and talked to Adam Pearce, and they made an official match at WrestlePalooza. Here's another match, y'all. The Usos versus the Bronze. The Usos versus the Bronze. who you got winning the match? Usos versus the Bronze at WrestlePalooza. So that's a match right there. There's another match right there. So as Bronson Reed was about to say something, LA Knight came from behind, y'all. LA Knight came from behind and started to beat the shit out of Bronson Reed. So the Bronze took, gaining momentum. They took out LA Knight right after that. They took out LA Knight. So right after they took out LA Knight, the Usos did a suicide dive, y'all. The Usos did a suicide dive right out of the goddamn ring onto Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, y'all. So they was all fighting in the ring at one point. So LA Knight almost, LA Knight almost hit Jey Uso, but Bronson Reed ended up smashing Jey Uso into the rope. Smashes. That's a pause right there. Pause. But anyway, so Jimmy Uso ended up giving Bronson Reed the super kick and knocked his ass out of the fucking ring. He gave him a super kick and knocked his ass right out of the goddamn ring. So that was crazy right there. So how y'all was feeling about that right there? So how y'all feeling, period, about the Usos back together? Jimmy and Jey Uso are back together once again to fight the Vision, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Put in the comments how you feeling. Alright, so and also next week, y'all, Raw starts at a special time. Raw starts at 7 o'clock p.m., y'all. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna keep it moving. Make sure y'all tune in to Monday Night Raw next week at 7 p.m. Backstage, LA Knight and Alan Pierce, y'all. Backstage, LA Knight had a little discussion, y'all. They had a little discussion, but they was going off on each other at the same goddamn time. So LA Knight had an interview right after that shit. He had an interview, and he said that Jey Uso, y'all, he said that Jey Uso was claiming that LA Knight tossed Bronson Reed into Jey Uso. Come on now, y'all. Come on now. Any man can toss Bronson Reed. That's a bad motherfucker. Bronson Reed's a big motherfucker right there. So if whoever can toss his big ass, they a bad motherfucker. They is a bad. But anyway, they's a bad motherfucker. So LA Knight wanted Bronson Reed or Braun Breaker in the ring in a match. He said he don't care if he loses or win the match. He said he just wants a piece of him. He said he don't give a damn if he win. He said anybody named that star with a Braun Breaker, Lil Braun. He said he could be Braun Strowman. He said he don't care who you is. Braun, he said he wants Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed in the motherfucking ring. Alright, we're gonna keep it moving, y'all. Make sure y'all like and share, subscribe. Alright, hit that button right now for the On the Raw Smack Talk. This is episode 72. Let's keep it pushing. Let's talk about El Grande Americano versus AJ Styles. So that match was crazy. So last week El Grande Americano cost AJ Styles the match. Well, he cost him the IC Championship match. When it was AJ Styles versus Dirty Dom. So El Grande, he put the steel plate into his mask. He headbutted the shit out of AJ Styles, and Dirty Dom did the frog splash to AJ Styles, and that was the match. Dirty Dom retained the IC Championship, y'all. So AJ Styles couldn't wait for a match. He couldn't wait to have a match against El Grande Americano. So the match started. Well, the match started out, ringside, really, because, like I said, AJ Styles couldn't wait for the match to happen. He ended up beating the shit out of El Grande Americano outside the ring. Y'all, during the match was another El Grande Americano. He came out to distract AJ Styles as well. I'm like, what the fuck? How many El Grande Americanos is it? So, El Grande Americano 2 distracted AJ Styles 2 times in the match. But on the second time, y'all, Dragon Lee came out and he took out little El Grande Americano or El Grande Americano 2. This is almost a damn tongue twister, his motherfucking long ass name. Anyway, but in the match, AJ Styles ended up giving El Grande Americano the Styles Clash, and he won the fucking match, y'all. AJ Styles wins the match. He deserved that win because of that loss he had last fucking week. Alright, so let's keep it moving backstage. Adam Pearce and Io Sky was talking about the contract signing for her and Stephanie Valkyrie. He said that's not happening. He said that's not happening. But he said y'all still will have the match at WrestlePalooza, y'all. So look, at WrestlePalooza, we're gonna have Io Sky versus Stephanie Valkyrie for the goddamn Women's World Heavyweight Championship. Put in the comments who y'all got winning that match right there. Put in the comments, alright? So look, Nikki Bella coming up to wish, Io Sky, good luck in her match against Stephanie Valkyrie, but the one and only Asuka came out from nowhere. Asuka came out and interrupted their ass. Asuka told Nikki that she said, Asuka, okay, he's off. Asuka told Nikki that she ain't got shit to say to Io. She said, you ain't got shit to say to Io right now. So Nikki was like, actually I do got something to say to her. She said, you need to respect me to when you talking to me. So Asuka was like, Asuka said, I'm gonna beat some respect into you in the ring. So we're gonna talk about that match, y'all. We're gonna talk about Nikki Bella versus Asuka, alright? So let's keep it moving. Raquel versus Lyra by Carrot. And the winner of that match was the one and only Raquel Rodriguez. She won the match. So mid-match, Raquel was on the top ropes. Lyra Raquel used her legs to pull down Raquel, and she turned it into a goddamn powerful powerbomb. She powerbombed the shit out of Raquel. Lyra was about to do her finisher. Roxanne distracted Lyra, y'all. They distracted her. So I was like, what the fuck? So what the fuck is Roxanne and the Judgment Day period always got a plan, y'all. Remember, we always know, right, that the Judgment Day always has a plan. But in the match, Raquel won the match, y'all. Raquel won the match. Lyra was on top ropes this time, and Raquel did her finisher on Lyra Raquel from the goddamn top ropes. And that was it, y'all. That was fucking it. So we're gonna keep it moving, y'all. We're gonna keep it moving. Backstage, Penta was talking to Adam Pearce, and he told Adam Pearce that he doesn't appreciate him. Adam Pearce was like, what the fuck is you talking about, Penta? He was like, I do appreciate you. He was like, what the fuck is you talking about? So Penta simply said, if you did appreciate me, to give me a match for the IC Championship against Dirty Dom. But before Adam Pearce can answer that question, the one and only Rusev shows up, and he started to talk shit to Penta, and he started to disrespect his ass. So Adam Pearce just did the one and only thing. He made a match, and for the first time ever, y'all, it was Penta versus Rusev. We're gonna talk about that match later. We're gonna talk about Penta versus Rusev as well, alright? So it was a lot going on Monday Night Raw. It was a lot going on, y'all. So how y'all feeling out there? How y'all feeling? We're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna keep it pushing. So also in the back, Jimmy Uso was looking for Jey Uso, but he ended up seeing him. Jey Uso was about to leave the fucking arena. Jimmy Uso told Jey Uso that they gotta look out for LA Knight in his match against Bronson Reed, y'all. So Jey Uso was like, who is we looking out for LA Knight? He said, LA Knight is not going to help me win the motherfucking World Heavyweight Championship back. So Jey Uso was claiming that LA Knight tried to hit him on purpose. And clearly we seen LA Knight stop before he hit Jey Uso. So I don't know why Jey Uso is tripping. Jey Uso is crashing out right now. Jey Uso is crashing out. So Jimmy Uso told Jey that he's starting to sound like Roman Reigns, y'all. And Jey Uso was like, that's the only way to sound right now. He said, that's the only way to sound, just like Roman Reigns. Alright, talk about AJ Lee. Remember we were talking about AJ Lee a little earlier in the show. So let's talk about AJ Lee right now. So AJ Lee comes out with Becky Lynch IC Championship, y'all. She comes out with a championship. AJ Lee talks about how she wasn't healthy and how she had to take a mental break from WWE and a mental break from her life. So AJ Lee talks about even going to therapy, y'all. She talks about going to therapy, and she turned her mental chaos into a superpower. So with all that said, AJ Lee turns her focus to Becky Lynch, y'all. She turns her focus to Becky Lynch. So AJ Lee said that she wanted to like Becky Lynch. She said she wanted to like her until she put her fucking hands on her husband, CM Punk. Becky Lynch comes out and she says, this ain't got a goddamn thing to do with your stinking ass husband. Becky Lynch told AJ Lee to give her goddamn title back. She said, give me back my goddamn IC Championship. To give me back my goddamn title. So AJ Lee said she totally forgot, y'all. AJ Lee said she totally forgot that she had the motherfucking championship on the whole time. She was acting all crazy and shit. So I forgot I had this shit on. I even went to bed with the bitch on. So I went to bed with the bitch on. So AJ Lee tells Becky Lynch, since she claims that she's the greatest, she need to come in the ring and try to get this goddamn title back her goddamn self. Becky Lynch was talking about CM Punk, and while she was talking about CM Punk, she asked AJ Lee what kind of man hides behind his wife. And AJ Lee was like, yo man, Seth Rollins, what the fuck? Since Seth Rollins is the one that hides behind you. So Becky Lynch calls out Seth Rollins. He's like, where's my goddamn husband anyway? Call. She said, bring Seth Rollins out so he play his goddamn music. Seth Rollins comes out and tells AJ Lee to give Becky Lynch the title back and shit. So you need to give that shit back ASAP so they can leave. AJ Lee told Becky Lynch that she can get the title back, but there's a catch, y'all. She said you can get your title back, but there's a fucking catch. Then once they get your title back, you come in the ring and risk getting another black eye, or two, agree to a tag team match. Like we were talking about earlier, y'all. So like I said, it's a tag team match, AJ Lee and CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and his wife, Becky Lynch. So as we know, the match was agreed upon. The match was agreed upon. So as Seth was about to Seth came out and got pissed off. So as he was about to talk shit to AJ Lee, CM Punk ended up coming in the ring and he picked up Seth Rollins, lining them up for the GTS, y'all. He lined them up for the GTS, but Seth Rollins exited the ring immediately. He got the fuck out of Dodge real quick. So like I said, at WrestlePalooza, y'all, AJ Lee, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Who y'all got winning the match, alright? Who y'all got winning? Also, y'all, coming up, November 3rd, Saturday night's main event returns. Saturday night main event returns November 1st, so we're gonna tune in for that later on this year. Alright, let's keep it moving with Bayley. Bayley had a promo, y'all. Bayley is still her voices in her goddamn head. So Bayley has been diagnosed with bipolar, y'all. Bayley has officially been diagnosed with bipolar. So Bayley was fighting with herself and she's trying to find a way to forgive Lyra, but at the end, Bayley says she's gonna make things right. Bayley says she's gonna make everything right again. She says, I'm gonna make it right. So we're gonna see what she gonna do, y'all. Will Bayley make it right by apologizing? But I think Bayley's gonna come back and start fucking up some shit. Bayley's gonna come back and start fucking up some shit. Alright, so let's get to the match. Penta versus Usos. And guess who won that match, y'all? The one and only Usos won the match. I was shocked. That was a good ass match right there. So at the end, y'all, when Penta was about to do a move from the top ropes, Rusev gave Penta a super kick. He super kicked the shit out of his ass. And Penta dropped, and the Rusev pins in the ref counted 3, and that was the match. I was shocked. I was like, dang, I just knew Penta was gonna win that match. But Rusev is on the up and up right now. Alright, so let's keep moving, y'all. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to your boy, y'all. We're on the road to 10K. We're on the road to 10,000 by the end of 2025. Don't forget, season 2 is on the way, y'all. Season 2 is on the way, so make sure y'all tune in for a new season of the Raw SmackDown, right? We'll do it differently. It's gonna be different. Alright, so look, backstage, LA Knight and Jimmy Uso was talking about strategy, and Jimmy told LA Knight that he was talking about we. He said we, and LA Knight was like, ain't no goddamn we gonna do nothing. LA Knight said he's gonna fight Bronson Reed by his goddamn self. So LA Knight tells Jimmy Uso, he said, if you want to help, don't help. He said, don't do nothing, motherfucker. Alright, let's get into another match, y'all. Nikki Bella versus Asuka. Remember, Asuka said she's gonna beat some respect into Nikki, and that's exactly what she did. Asuka ended up winning the match. I was shocked. Asuka used Kairi as a human shield. She used Kairi Sane as a human shield so Nikki could get to her. So Asuka pushed Kairi Sane out of the way. She kicked the shit out of Nikki in her motherfucking head, y'all. Nikki dropped to the motherfucking ground. But at the end of the match, Asuka put Nikki in the Asuka lock, and Nikki tapped out, y'all. It's like, god damn. So she did beat the respect into her ass at the end. So look, let's keep it moving. Next week on Monday Night Raw, y'all, we're gonna have CM Punk, AJ Lee, and Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Then all of them will be meeting face to face, y'all, before WrestlePalooza. They will meet face to face. And also next week, we're gonna have Roxanne versus Lyra Vicarious. And guess who's coming to Monday Night Raw? The one and only, the GOAT. John Cena is coming to Monday Night Raw, so make sure y'all tune in for that, alright? Let's keep it moving backstage. Backstage was crazy with the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day was hyped up because, Raquel ended up winning her match. She won her match early in the show. So Dirty Dom shows up to the clubhouse all late, and they was wondering, where the fuck has he been? Like, where the fuck has you been? Dom was like, he's talking strategy. He has a match coming up at When Worlds Collide. He's trying to win the AAA championship, so he's trying to come up with strategy. So Finn told Dom that all favors require something in return. So Dirty Dom told him it's nothing like that at all. So what is Dom up to, y'all? What is Dirty Dom up to? The judge of the day is tired of Dirty Dom talking to El Grande Americano. And I'm tired of El Grande Americano, my goddamn self. Let's keep it pushing. Backstage, we're gonna stay backstage before we get into the main event. Before we get into the main event, backstage, Nikki Bella met up with Asuka, and Asuka was still talking shit right after she won the match. She was still talking shit. She was like, I won the goddamn match, bitch. What you gonna do? So Rhea Ripley showed up, y'all. Rhea Ripley showed up and asked if there's a problem. And my Asuka was like, yeah. Asuka was like, damn right, it's a problem. Asuka said she got 2 problems. Said Rhea Ripley and me and Nikki Bella. She said, both of y'all are my goddamn problems right now. And Asuka said some goddamn shit in her language and she walked away. So we're going to see, it might be another tag team match, Nikki Bella and Rhea Ripley versus the Kabuki Warriors. We want to see what's going to, how this is going to play out for WrestlePalooza. We're going to see how this play out for WrestlePalooza. All right, let's get into the main event, y'all. Let's get into the main event. LA Knight versus Bronson Reed, y'all. So look, let's talk about that match. LA Knight started that match with the Fist of Fury, y'all. He started beating the shit out of Big Bronson Reed, beat all the goddamn spam off his goddamn face. Like, no. He beat the spam off his face. But so LA Knight was talking shit to Braun Breaker, ringside, but Bronson Reed pulled LA Knight's big-headed ass in the ring by his fucking hair. So at one point outside the ring, LA Knight sent Bronson Reed's big ass into the steps, y'all. Look, y'all, if the steps had any feelings, if the steps had feelings, Bronson Reed would have sent the goddamn steps to the hospital. That's how big he is. So we gonna keep it pushing. LA Knight jumped from the announce table into the barricade and onto Big Bronson Reed's big ass. I'm like, goddamn, he almost missed it. He got a piece of him. He didn't get all of them. So mid-match, LA Knight gave Bronson Reed big ass the big elbow drop, and that wasn't enough to win the fucking match. So LA Knight lined up Bronson Reed for the BLT, but Braun Breaker distracted LA Knight. So Big Bronson Reed did his goddamn finisher move, the Jagged Edge Death Valley. It's called the Jagged Edge Death Valley Driver. He did that to LA Knight and the ref counted to 3, and that was the fucking match, y'all. I was like, goddamn, Big Bronson Reed, his big ass won. So after the match, Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker started to stump the hell out of LA Knight. We stumped the hell out of his ass. Jimmy Uso came out, but Jimmy Uso gets speared right away. Braun Breaker speared this shit out of Jimmy Uso. So right after that happened, Jey Uso comes out and he takes out Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, but Braun Breaker had a quick ass recovery. So Braun Breaker speared the shit out of Jey Uso's ass. Bronson Reed was lining up Bronson Reed lined up Jimmy and Jey Uso for the tsunami, but LA Knight took out Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, y'all. He took out Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker with a fucking steel chair to the fucking back and to the face. To the back and to the goddamn face. So LA Knight came out and rescued, the Usos, and Jimmy Uso and LA Knight, they shook hands and shit. It was good. But all of a sudden, y'all, the unthinkable happened. The fucking unthinkable happened. Jey Uso speared the shit out of LA Knight. The WWE Universe was shocked. I was shocked. I was like, what the fuck? So is Jey Uso, y'all, crashing out, or is Jey Uso turning heel, y'all? Put it in the comments what's happening to Jey Uso. So God show body, y'all. So that was episode 72, y'all. Episode 72 is down, and I appreciate y'all for putting up on me every week and every episode, y'all. Like I said, every week. So like I said, we're on the road to 10K, y'all. Let's get there together by the end of 2025. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, y'all. And let's not forget the next PLE. It is WrestlePalooza in Indianapolis, y'all. September 20th, y'all. Let's get it. Alright? So like I said, every week and every episode, y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you're right here with the one and only King Tyson, y'all. And I will see y'all on the next episode. Alright? Episode 73. I'm out of here. See y'all next time.